All right, good morning. Happy Sunday. Here we are again, looking at Zom Nom Defense. Slightly distracted, I realized I need to update my profile pic on GitHub as part of the continued rebranding, and but the file I have is too large. I have to make a downsized version for it, I guess. Anyway, do that later. Today, I'm going to work on the Godot game known as Zom Nom Defense. I was doing a little bit of stuff ahead of the stream this morning, actually, looking at fixing a long-standing issue where when I launched the game in embedded mode, right, with this turned on, and we'd run it, it would be like skewed. It would be messed up because of our screen resolution stuff. And unfortunately, well, I will say I attempted to have the Copilot make a stab at fixing it, and it sort of did because it essentially disabled all of our full screen and resolution stuff. If OS.has feature editor, this is not correct though. It works in the sense that if you launch it embedded, it's not messed up, but now it has the opposite problem where if you launch it not embedded, it doesn't respect the resolution setting. So what I was trying to do was do a little bit of research over here on how to actually detect it. There's engine.isEmbedded in editor to check, according to this comment. Okay. I guess I could have discovered that if I would have went to like editor dot. I don't have autocomplete. Is this? Oh, engine, not editor. There you go. Right. If I would have been engine dot is embedded in editor is a function, returns true if the engine is running embedded in the editor. This is useful to prevent attempts to update window mode or window flags that are not supported when running the project embedded in it. Oh, look at that. I guess I could have just like looked at the engine class and all of its methods. How many does it have? Ooh. Get donor info? I guess this is for the actual Godot donors. And that, okay. Get main loop. Get physics frames. Sometimes it's good to just kind of review to know what is in places. You know, to actually know things instead of being like, how do I do this? And then casting a net. On the other hand, there's no way I'm going to retain, like, oh, look, here's all these different methods. Got them? All right, I know them now. No, of course not. But if there was something, oh, that's interesting. Registers to give an object instance as a singleton available globally under name. So is this what happens? Is this what's used when we are registering autoloads? Register script language. Huh. Interesting. Anyway, let's see if we fixed our bug. Right, so if we're launching not embedded, look at that. We have a big window. We can change this to full screen. Now, one thing oh, okay, yeah, it applies. Great, great, great. We got a full screen game. Look at that, amazing. It's the little things. We can go smaller. Oh. Oh, it's over on my other screen. Let me keep settings. And we'll move it back over here. Here we go. That's fine. That does that. All right, so that's half of it. And the other half is if we go over here and we say embed game on next play and we run it, it's embedded. It fits this. It's not like skewed or offset or anything. So that I will say that fixed our bug. All right, engine is embedded in editor. Okay, we'll just commit and push that change. Very, very good. That will save me like many clicks. Okay, and then I had this other bug that I wanted to test really quick. Bug fix that I wanted to test really quick. This one, more AI coding, but we'll see how it goes. So there was an issue with we have for our save slots, we have a thing where it will grab a screenshot of the game, and then like if we go to load game, let's delete this. Cool, right? So we have this placeholder texture. The idea is eventually we're gonna have an actual like no save. We're gonna have an image here, right? This is just a placeholder for now. So if we go back, we go to load game again. Okay, and if I hit new game, and then I exit to the main menu and I load game. So prior to this change, this would have been replaced with the screenshot of this image of this UI, which is not right. Okay, so we're gonna quickly complete a level. We don't have sound right now because reasons, because I have desktop audio muted. I click load game and there we go. So we can see that. So if we continue this and we start game, we do Campfire Survivors. I need a I win button, actually. So new task. Ooh, so loud in my ear. Turn that music down a little bit more. Okay. So I think for the purposes of testing, we need a way to complete a level. Like force complete a level. That would be really helpful. Because we have like... or do I want a way to... Actually, hold that thought. Load game. Oh, right. Sorry. It's not even running. Load game. So like this one, continue, start game. What am I trying to do? I guess. Yeah, I guess I do want a I win button. How do we want to do that? We can just do like a function key that clears the current level. Just thinking about that. Like, we could do something fancier, but I don't think I want fancy right now. I just want a quick way of being able to complete the level to see how it affects the screen grab functionality that we're trying to test right now. So let me do maybe the simplest thing that can work, and then we'll worry about more complicated things later. All right, so how do we force the level to be completed? Here's a question. Sorry. Level dot GD. Isn't there a level base class? Do I not remember how the system works? Why is this okay, weird. Oh right, because it's not a level anymore, right? That's why this file is hanging out here that we don't need. It's a scenario. We renamed it a while ago. Okay, so something to do with survivor count. On target died. There should be another thing where we... Okay, that's fine. It's like, is that a redundant log? No, that's fine. Process. Like, I'm expecting there to be... I guess we assume that if we complete all waves completed, right? If we get here, right, then we're assuming that we didn't trigger this, right? So let's assert. Shouldn't be here, so all survivors are dead, is the assertion, right? If I'm going to assume something, and like the structure of the code means that it shouldn't be possible for us to reach this callback because we will have interrupted the process if the last survivor dies. So if I'm going to make that assumption, I'm going to assert that in the code so that at least we have some sense of what went wrong if something goes wrong. The alternative would be to just like check here, and you can do that. There is a point in which you check for all the circumstances all the time, and you just get bogged down with all that. And I'm not going to. Anyway, what was my point? I guess we actually. How does this work? I guess we have repurposed setting the game state to victory. Interesting. So I think my original conception of how what this would mean is not quite matched how it's being used right now. But I guess this is fair. We probably need another game state that we have not implemented reaching yet, which is completing all the scenarios. All done. Just call it all done. Okay. We'll leave that in there as a thing for future us. It won't be a reachable state right now. Anyway, so victory represents just victory for the current scenario. So really what we want to do is we want to have a way to set the game state to victory. I think that seems to be the key thing for us. Where do I want to inject something? So there's a scenario manager. We don't use progression saved? Why does it exist then? Let's get rid of it. So we have the scenario manager. We can clear scenario, register things, scenario started, scenario ended. Interesting. So we provide a signal, and it is emitted here. More coffee. More coffee. Let's just, again, do the thing that I said I was going to, and it's just like the simplest thing that can work, which is like input handle debug input to skip scenario for testing. So we'll do Control S. There is no S key in key. Is key a thing? No. Made up stuff. Oh, there is something called key. Interesting. Okay. Let's do it slightly more properly, which is we go to project settings, we're gonna input map, we're gonna add a new action called debug skip or complete scenario. We'll add a keybind for that, which will be Control S. Okay, close. Right, so there we go. So is on all waves completed what we want to invoke? Yes, except then our then our assertion is violated because the survivor count won't be oh wait, this assertion is wrong. Hold on. Survivor count should be 0 for there. Oh no, greater than 0. Greater than 0. Well, it's probably true then. Yeah. Sorry. Getting my inequality backwards. Okay, so that should be fine. So when we run the game, getting back to the task at hand here. So we have our slot. We start game. We can start with this scenario. I can hit Control S. Invalid call. There's no warning. This is a lie. There's a warn. We should define warning as another way of saying warn. Working. Yeah. There we go. It's just the same thing as warn. All right, let's try again. Start game. Control S. Victory. So if we go here and we go to load game, oh, I guess that was slot 1. I hope that was slot 1. Can we do slot 3? Yeah, I think that might be a bug. So we restarted the game and it defaulted back to using slot 1. It might be good. Okay. Here's something I've been playing around with more. Can you open a GitHub issue to make it so that it's more clear which save slot is being opened when start game? Before or when you press the start game button on the main menu. Oh. I was not actually paying attention to this. I was thinking about how I wanted to phrase that with my eyes closed, and yeah, okay. So it will create something, improve clarity, which save slot is being loaded when starting game. When starting game is not clear which player was save slot. This is true. There we go. Yeah. Okay, great. Imagine having to type all that. Super. And that way we can come back to that later. And we'll pick a milestone. I feel like this should be maybe in phase 3. Okay. Anyway, we were trying to test something. Well, okay, so I selected slot 3, which currently has a screenshot of the first scenario. We start game. We select the second scenario. I force victory. When I go to load game, then I see a screenshot from the completion of the second scenario in slot 3. Okay, cool. And if I delete this, we go back to having just the default placeholder, which we're not gonna put a proper image in quite yet. So that completes the thing. So the thing I'm thinking about now is how do I want to do things? I guess what I will do, what will I do? I'm going to delete the keybind, and now it's no longer accessible, right? Actually, here's a thought. When I run the game, and I go to settings, and I go to keybinds, it's still there, right? Okay, so we can't do that. I mean, I could. It's a single player game. Who cares, right? I'll just delete it for now. All right, and it was just the key that was changed in here, so we'll remove that. And so what did we end up doing? We've removed some unused stuff. We added an assert. We removed unused file. We added warning as an alternate method for warn for the logger. Yeah, so just some minor tweaks as we were testing that. Okay. All right, we'll let our unit tests run. And then what are we going to work on next? Well, I think some Blender. We could work on the custom font. That's been kind of a side project that I've been doing whenever I think about it, and I'm bored. But it's kind of slow going. It's just some vector art, sketching out things. But we could do a turret model. Actually, part of what I want to do with this is I want to make it so that obstacles, you know, so defenses, the things that you can place in this tower defense game can actually not just have animation, but will like aim and shoot, have those kind of behaviors, which is a bit different now, right? So right now, obstacles that do damage are either like, I think we have one that is like AoE damage. It's just like damage over time while in range. And then we have things that hit and they have like a cooldown, which I guess amounts to the same thing, really, when you think about it. And the turret is no different in that, you know, it has some kind of cooldown. But I think the idea would be that the cooldown would be associated with the turret needing to move to aim, right? So there would be like a base cooldown for like how long it takes between shots, and then a cooldown for it to retarget. And the model in the game needs to turn to correspond with that. And I don't know if we're gonna have too many kinds of things like that, but we'll definitely have like we should probably have like levels of turrets, and they'll all have the same kind of behavior. Because right now it's just we have a box placeholder. So I think this will be good to do. This will be fun to do. That will involve both a little bit of modeling. We'll put together a really basic model. It'll just be a box and a tube. And then we'll figure out how to make that do stuff. Yeah. I don't know. I've never done that before. But that's the whole point of this whole thing that I've been doing on stream for a few months now. Is like I said in past streams, I've dabbled a little bit with game dev stuff in the past. Of course, never really touched Godot before we started this game dev stream series. But yeah, I could do that, but I'm not going to. The new capture screenshot parameter lacks test coverage. Yeah, that's an idea. Could do that. All right, squash and merge. Awesome. So that's another bug fixed. And I do like, you know, chipping away at the bugs and kind of tweaking things like this instead of just leaving it for the end, because it's going to make the experience of, you know, playtesting things and stuff a bit better, which is good since I'm the one doing it. All right, so anyway, oh yeah, it's not showing up on my list because it's not assigned to me. There we go. And what do I care? Well, because then I can click this button and we'll switch over to a branch. for that. Okay, I think it's Blender time. Bring Blender up here. Whoop, there we go. And we'll hide some stuff here. And like I said, this is going to be pretty basic. I imagine this is going to be, well, 3 boxes and a tube. For now. Like, I'm not necessarily aiming for a particular look yet. I just want some meshes so that I can have some meshes move and some not, and have it vaguely look like a turret. So let's see, let's go side view. We're gonna name these things, so this will be base, and we'll scale in the Z like so, and probably move you up so that you're like aligned. You know, it'd be cool actually. Can we go Z 0.5? There we go. We can be precise. Yes. Okay, 1. Oops. Go Z1. Ah, hey Moody Abigail, thanks for the lurk. Hope you're doing well. Alright, so this is going to be like the axle of the turret, if you will. Scale Z. So we want this. It doesn't have to be like embedded, but it needs to be like touching. Close enough. In fact, I think scale Z, but narrower. Okay. And then we have kind of the head of the turret. So scale, not Z. Okay. And then I feel like maybe, did that get all the vertices? I got too many vertices. Too many vertices. Okay, you know what I should do? Just use face select mode. There we go. This is just feeling like it should all be lower. Not really thinking about overall scale. So if we're like top down here, what is the scale here? Well, you know, there's a tool to measure. So this is what? 1.3, about 1.5 meters across on the base. That's pretty big. Might be too big. Oh, interesting. It just keeps going, huh? Interesting. So 0.5 meter. Might be too small. 1 meter might be about right. Okay, scale, not Z. About 1 meter across. And then we'll refine, we could refine the shape a bit. Let's just scale Z. Okay. And then add another cube. Oh, so big. Make it fairly small. We'll move it up here. Let's see, top down. Maybe move it so that it's coming off in the positive X direction. This will be like the barrel of the turret. Oh no. Oh right, I'm still in face select mode, right? Also in edit mode. Edit mode is fine. Something like that. And of course, refinements for this could be like, oh, maybe the turret has legs. The top of it is rounded in various ways. This is rounded. I don't care about any of that right now. We're gonna start with this, and like I said, I need to name these cubes. So this will be barrel. I guess like maybe joining these two would be good. Is it Control J? Yeah, so this will be top. And then maybe joining these two as base. That'll make sense visually. Like this part will spin and this part will not spin. I know, some really amazing modeling going on here. We can give these some color. Hold on, let me turn my lighting and stuff back on. So this will be. How do we feel about naming materials? What is that? Okay, so, and then bottom. And then we can do kind of a darker gray with some metallic. And then there we go. And what's this? Get rid of that. And top is going to be maybe like darker. I don't know, something. This is all. It's fine. All right, get rid of disable that, and then we'll save. This will be turret.blend. And we'll figure out how to actually make this do things. And it's gonna be great. It's gonna be really good. Yeah, reload from disk. Okay, so now in assets, we have our turret model. And do we have... Let's see, entities, yes. Obstacles. Templates. So we have the concept of a shooting obstacle. Which has an attack. This represents like how much damage you can do. It has a detection timer. This is about figuring out interesting time to detect and attack enemies. So how often it's scanning. and that is going to, like, the question is going to be when we start looking at making the code for the turret specifically, how does that integrate with this code? Right, so this finds the nearest enemy in range and then performs an attack. Do we need to override this? Do we, well, so what's this attack component? Doing. So there is a perform attack method. That's what the entity calls. And then it interacts with the health component of the target. Also plays sound, does cooldown related stuff, all the things. So placeable enemy, placeable obstacle rather, is our base class that we have here that defines really basic things with to do with obstacles. Like they're placeable, right? They're placeable. They have health and they can take damage. When they're destroyed, what happens to them? Some checks for us in the editor. So really some basic things that all obstacles need to have as things that can be placed into the world. And then the shooting obstacle is, in other words, an obstacle that can do damage to an enemy. So like, it feels like maybe what we will want to do is have some hooks here. So we have both inheritance and composition going on in this code base, right? So we have composition where we have like this attack component that we can use here, and we're using a health component and these other things. But we also have inheritance where we have like a placeable obstacle, shooting obstacle. Maybe we have a subclass as well. I don't know. Hey, Brainless. Good morning. How's it going? Happy Sunday. Ooh. Just kind of thinking about, so we have a concrete, we have this concept of like templates for our entities, and we have concrete instances, right? So we have a basic turret, but this is just a scene. No, yeah, a wonderful turret, yeah. Doing all right, resting a bit before having to go vote. Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. How inconvenient having to go somewhere to go vote. Is it? I mean, I guess it's an interesting circumstance where you are working for. It sounded like anyway you're kind of working remotely for a company out of the country. But is it like a holiday where you are? If it's mandatory voting, and you have to go to like a polling place, do people generally have the day off for that? How am I? I'm doing all right. Waking up. Coffee is kicking in. And it's all gone. Oh well. So the basic turret uses the shooting obstacle script. They do it on its. Oh right, of course it is a Sunday. I know what I literally said. What day of the week it was, to avoid altering the workday, but it's also mandatory for everyone, even malls, etc. Well, nice. I guess it's redundant if your voting day is on a Sunday, to make it a holiday. In that sense. Um, but yeah. At least there's that. Versus it's what? The first Tuesday in November in the US, and it's not a holiday. And potentially you could be waiting in line to vote for a long time if you're in a place where you have to go somewhere to do that. Lucky me, I am not. But anyway. Yeah, exactly. It's not ideal. Yeah, before you were saying that yesterday, I didn't know that there was the voting was compulsory, right? That's a word, in Chile. I think I've heard that it is in Australia, or at least it was at one point, and probably other places as well, but not in the US. You truly dislike it? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the other side of that, it's kind of frustrating that, you know, um, the lack of people voting and then complaining about how things are. You don't want to get involved. Well, yeah, that's fine until, the thing you don't get involved with turns out to be not so great for you. Which is, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I get, politics in that sense is not necessarily a fun topic, but yeah. I think being able to vote is better than the alternative. What was I trying to do? Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out what am I doing with shooting obstacle, and how is it going to interact with our turret model, right? Because I can easily say, okay, I have this basic turret scene, and we can drop in our model of the turret, and we get rid of our mesh instance, and then yeah, there's our turret, and then what do we need to do here? So this, we need to editable children. So we have the base and the top. Placeable obstacle can now have multiple mesh instances, which is good. So it can have the base and the top. That's good. That controls how the placement preview stuff works. Collision shape. I think we have to do, well, we don't have to, but we probably want to change how the import of the turret file went. Right, so we want to, yeah, visible only. We want, where is, what am I looking for? Oh yeah, generate physics? No. Root scale, import a skeleton, Insert tangents, generate LODs, create shadow meshes. I don't see... Is it export geometry? It's not, is it? Why can't I remember things? Okay, well, let's try... Is this a... I mean, honestly, yeah, so what we can do here, like, I was thinking about, like, generating the collision shape from the mesh, but we don't need to do that. I always fall into that. I feel like I keep on hitting on that where it's like, oh, I want to generate this thing from the mesh, but I don't really need a fancy collision shape. I just need something that is roughly around where the object is. Doesn't even have to be perfect. Yeah, like that's good enough. Okay, so if I just run the game, we will have a quote-unquote turret. Right, so I can place a turret. Like so. And that works. Might be a little overpowered. But yeah. But what we want is one thing. I think the turret's kind of small, honestly. Can we just like scale it up? Is there scale all the things? I guess I could just like transform. One and then one. Oh. Remove that one and then put that back and then scale. Just do bigger. And then fix our collision shape because I messed it up. Finicky stuff. I think in a way, just like this sort of thing of like, oh, I need to tweak it, I need to move it, it's not quite right over and over and over again, is probably the thing that I feel like when it comes to any kind of art stuff is the thing that is discouraging to me, because it doesn't feel like there's ever an end. It could just go on forever, which I guess is true. And it's also true for coding, right? You could just like, you could keep on refactoring and trying to make it better, but better for what? What is it you're exactly trying to achieve? And maybe that's the problem, is that me lacking necessarily a target for, and I'm talking generally, not specifically about this, but lacking like, oh, I want to get it exactly like this, means I don't know what I'm trying to get, which means, yeah, I would just keep on going infinitely. Was that bigger? Yeah, the voices in my head saying the code is still crap. Well, it will always be. Because hopefully, anyway, I think hopefully it will be, because that means that you are learning new things. You're seeing bigger. You're seeing deeper. You're seeing further. And so your perspective is different. So your standards are different. Right? I think there's that. I think it's also important to remember that everything you do, everything you write is in the context of what you need to get done right now. So it's never going to be perfect. Perfect is the enemy of the good. And on that note, I'm going to take a break here. I'll be back in a couple.